Hello guys, welcome to Auto Latest Cars. Today we are driving the old Lynk Co 08. It's a car that it's on European market for over 1 year, and it's a car that actually I drove it in the last 5 days around 700 kilometers, and I could tell you a lot of them on the highway, and I could tell you that this car is still the most important okay, let's not say plug-in hybrid vehicle on the market, but definitely we could say that this is the most important REV car on European market. First of all, because it's sold in Europe. This is not, it's a Chinese brand. It's a premium Chinese brand that it's sold in Europe. And in the last, let me show you, in the last 1 kilometers, in the last 626 kilometers, with an average speed of 73, I have an average fuel consumption of 8.1 liters per 100 kilometers. A lot of you guys are going to tell me that it's too much, but be aware that I drove this car with an average speed, not an average, with a normal speed of 150 kilometers an hour on the highway with air conditioning on, and in the city driving mode this car actually went full electric, because and I still have 87 kilometers of electricity and 69 kilometers of petrol. I drive this car in hybrid mode, and with 44% of the battery I could still make drive 87 kilometers of electric range with 44% of the battery. Again, 44% of the battery, 87 kilometers of electric range in city driving mode. Of course, if you go outside the city driving, definitely the fuel consumption will rose, but the petrol fuel consumption will rose, because the car will drive let's say full hybrid. Okay, be aware, this Lynk Co 08, it's a premium car. It doesn't have a double phonic double glaze side windows. It still have normal windows, but the car is definitely a premium one. And if you look at the BYD, if you look at the other brands, you will see even Tesla, they are mounting double glazing side windows, because they have to make the car more silent inside, more premium feel like inside, from the sound point of view. Lynk Co, it's a premium car, so it doesn't need that very expensive side windows, and that means that this car it's made 100% premium. So the platform of this car is the actual Volvo XC70 on a Chinese market. Of course, that car, that REV car is not coming to Europe. Of course, Volvo, it's crazy. The politics of the models and the range of the model of Volvo cars in Europe, they are crazy compared with the Chinese market. They have this car with the Volvo logo, and I think it looks better than the Lynk Co 08, and they don't sell it here in Europe, so that's crazy. So when you drive a Lynk Co 08, you will see that the RF meter is 0, yes, on the left, and the car actually drives 99.9% on electricity. A lot of you guys are going to complain and say this is a plug-in hybrid car. This is not a plug-in hybrid car. This is an REV, range extended electric vehicle. So this car is made to drive 100% electric in where is possible, and in the city driving mode it's definitely 100% electric from my point of view. So this car it has a price range here on this market starting from 49,000 euros, which is not, this is not a cheap car, but you will receive a lot of gadgets. And this car with the Harman Kardon over 1000 watt power system, it's around 43,000 euros. So it's important for you to remember that if you try to compare this car with the BMW X3, I think it's with an X3. This is not with an X5. So let's configure make a comparison with a BMW X3 plug-in hybrid. around 300 horsepower. This car has 340 horsepower, and of course the new GLC plug-in hybrid version, of course around 300 horsepower. And put everything you could on that car, because this is standard, and you will get around 18, 90 or 100,000 euros price tag. So the European technology, it's good, it's premium, it's bulletproof from the resale point of view, but it has very two big problems from my point of view. And I'm European, and I'm driving European, even premium cars in the European market. First of all, the resale value of European brands like BMW, Mercedes, it's quite low compared with the Chinese. So if you pay 80,000 euros on a plug-in hybrid GLC or X3, in 4 or 5 years you'll get around 30,000 euros as a resale value. This car costs 49,000 euros. In 5 years, definitely you should receive, I don't know, 25,000 euros, because this car is top of the line from the technology point of view. And the Lynk Co brand, it's actually very good. It has a very good image on European market, being here for over 5 years. As a rent-a-car, now it's a brand of its own. So the depreciation value of the BMW and the Mercedes, it could go around 50,000 euros. So if you buy a cheaper Chinese premium car like this one, you will lose only, I don't know, let's say 20,000 euros. If you buy a premium European car with the same level of equipment, with the same level of power and the chassis and the SUV type like car, you'll definitely lose around 50,000 euros in 5 years. So that's a very big problem, because we are living in 2026, and somehow in European market it's a financial crisis, and you have to be aware of your money even if you are rich. Okay, that's the financial point of view, where the European actually lose the battle against the Chinese. And be aware, this car has very big taxes because it's made in China, it's not made in Europe. Even though that technically it's an European brand, because Geely Holding actually owns Volvo, and Volvo is still an European brand, and the technology of the Lynk & Co cars, it's a European technology, but it's made in China. So it's going to be a big problem for the Geely Holding on this market if EU actually increases the taxes. So from the power point of view and the battery point of view, the Chinese actually destroys all the European brands. First of all, this car, it's in China, it's 3 years old, and this car still has this car that I am driving now, it has a 40 kilowatt hour battery. It's 39.6 or something like that usable, but it's a 40 kilowatt hour battery. And all European brands, the 80,000 euros or 100,000 euros cars made in Germany with the Chinese battery, of course, they have only around 25 kilowatt hour battery, around 25. So this car could run 200 kilometers in city driving mode, WLTP city, with ease. If you drive it in the normal temperatures, like 35 degrees outside, plus or minus 10, of course it will be a deviation of 50 kilometers an hour. But when I took this car, outside was 30 degrees, now it's 28 degrees, as you probably see, and the average fuel autonomy of the board computers, the board computer told me 185, 190 kilometers with a full battery. So Europeans, they claim that their car are going to run, let's say, 100 kilometers or 120, but the real range of the European premium brands, it's around 80 kilometers. With this car, you go more than twice. So that's a very big problem for the BMW, Audi, and Mercedes-Benz, because and I'm talking about them. I'm not talking about a VW or Skoda or Ford or I don't know, or Renault or something like that, because this is a premium brand and we have to compare with the premium brands. So it has actually very big problem. The all European brands have a very big problem, because this car is quite nice from the technological point of view. Cons, of course, you have only one wireless charging here, not two. Of course, you'll have very tiny, very big holes, and you couldn't put a coffee there because it will spill. Of course, you will have a lot of problems. Let's say possible problems with the spare part, because this is a premium car, and this is it's somehow rare. Lynk Co are somehow rare. 08, not 01. And but the technology, it's bulletproof, and of course the Chinese are bringing here in Europe only this two-wheel drive with 345 horsepower. They are not bringing here in Europe the actually the top of the line version of the 08 with almost 500 horsepower, because the version that has also a 200 horsepower electric engine on the back. So they are bringing here only the two-wheel drive version, which is good. It's okay. We don't have any problems with it. But for more performance and for more exclusivity, they definitely should bring the bigger battery. I think in China they still have a bigger battery. It's like a 60 kilowatt hour, and this platform actually could be mounted that 60 kilowatt hour battery, and of course the 480 or 500 horsepower all-wheel drive system. With that amount of power, and they could charge the 10,000 euros more. So a Chinese car with this is 49, let's say 59,000 euros, with the 59,000 euros price tag, definitely could be a very and 500 horsepower and a very big battery. That it's going to be a very big problem for a lot of premium brands. But also, even though this car with 345 horsepower with an electric engine of 208 horsepower and let's say 360 newton meters, and the petrol engine with the 1.5 and 137 horsepower, which is used 90% of the time like a generator, this type of REV, range extended electric vehicle, actually it's more powerful and better than a lot of European plug-in hybrid cars, because when the battery is going to be off, this car it will still have an electric vehicle capability. Even the battery is depleted, because the battery is not depleted at the REV, because you'll still have a 20 or 30% of the buffer in the battery, and when you have 30% buffer from a 40 kilowatt hour battery, believe me, it's like more than 70% of the battery of a BMW plug-in hybrid or Mercedes-Benz plug-in hybrid or Audi plug-in hybrid car. So from the battery point of view of the war of the batteries, Chinese actually won the battle, and in the next step for the Chinese is to put LFP batteries like blade system. Geely has a new generation of blade battery. Not BYD, Geely also they have a very it's a longitudinal blade battery. They could mount LFP battery that could mount on all REV cars or hybrid cars on their brands: Geely, Lynk Co, Volvo, and of course Zeekr. But Zeekr is also sold in Europe, but only as electric vehicle brand. So they could put that technology inside of the car. Today the Europeans don't have that technology, and that is going to be a very big problem, because all the technology or all the parts from the battery of the European electric vehicles or European plug-in hybrid cars, it's of course 100% made by Chinese. So from the technology point of view, the battery point of view, Chinese actually have the advantage, because they have the technology, but also from the gearbox point of view, again, this is number 3, a thing that a lot of technical journalists they are not talking about in Europe. This car it's made by Chinese. The technology of this car, it's, I don't know, 5 or 10 years old. They understood 5 years or 10 years ago that the plug-in hybrid classical car is not going to work, because it's not going to be very efficient, because the car actually drove 50, 60, 70, max 70% of the time in electric mode. And they developed this car, this gearbox. It's called DHT. It's a more advanced gearbox than even Toyota have. Toyota has an ECVT, which is somehow the same technological system. It's somehow the same, but Toyota actually doesn't have a very big electric power. power plant. In the ECVT, the RAV4 plug-in hybrid has only 135 horsepower, and the Lexus it's around 150, something like that. This car has 208 electric horsepower and 360 Newton meters, and of course the same engine is mounted on the back on the all-wheel drive versions. Again, 208 besides the 137 generator petrol engine. So they have a very big generator also near the electric engine in the same gearbox, and the generator in average have 80 or 100 horsepower. So that generator, the power of the generator, it doesn't count at the total power output of the electric system. But in the highway driving mode, like I drove it a few days ago with 150 or 160 kilometers an hour on the highway, that big generator actually charged my battery. So I started on a range of let's say 500 kilometers on the highway with that amount of big speeds, and after 500 kilometers actually I had let's say 40 or 50 kilometers of plus energy, plus range in the battery. And be aware, it's a 40 kilowatt hour battery. It's not a 21 kilowatt hour battery. It's a 40 kilowatt hour battery. So the generator, the electric engine that it's actually drives it like a generator in the gearbox, it's so powerful, with an inverter of course integrated in the same gearbox. The system is so powerful that actually it could charge in the hybrid mode. I didn't drive it in sport because the Lynk Co guys from here in Romania at Neo Motors told me that actually if you drive it on the let's say sport mode, the generator actually charges faster the battery than if you're driving in the hybrid mode. So this is a lot of technical specs. I'm aware that this discussion is very hard for a lot of you guys that don't understand so much mechanically, but a lot of you understand the plug-in hybrid cars. A lot of you criticize the plug-in hybrid European cars because the BMS is very expensive, the battery is very expensive, you can't change only a module or something like that, and that's a European problem on European models. And a lot of reviews actually in a comparison, like let's say a plug-in hybrid car with a mild hybrid car and an electric car, the same chassis, definitely you should go for the mild hybrid one because it's the cheapest one to repair, I don't know, let's say after the warranty goes off. But this Chinese REV cars are actually better because the gearbox, let's say, could drive 500,000 kilometers with no problem. They have an integrated, everything is integrated, inverter, everything is integrated in the gearbox. The engine, it's also used by Volvo, so it's a 1.5 turbocharged direct injection, but a Miller cycle system with 137 horsepower. So it's a small power, small engine with a decent power, but it's not important because the real power for this car, it actually comes from the electric engines, from the gearbox. And of course, if you drive this one in all-wheel drive system with again 200 plus horsepower, you'll definitely have a very sporty car. So 69 kilowatt hour, 69 range in petrol in the last let's say 40 kilometers, and of course 81 kilometers with 41% of the battery. And let's say since I actually starting this video, I actually drove 7.1 kilometers with 0 liters per 100, and the fuel consumption is 19 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers. And be aware, this car is actually it's an 2.1 tons empty weight. So now let's say now it's empty, even the driver, it's plus 100 kilograms, but let's say 2.1 kilograms, 2.1 tons empty, and the fuel consumption is still 19 below 20 kilowatt hours. So if you drive this one, if you take this one, if you buy this one and charge it at your home, you could, and you drive it here in city driving mode like I'm showing you now, you could definitely go over 200 kilometers WLTP city, because we are driving in downtown Bucharest, in the center of Bucharest. This is not rush hour, this is normal hour. Rush hour, it's standstill. This is a normal hour. As you could probably see, it's 12 o'clock in the noon, and everything is somehow blocked. Somehow, let's say somehow. Waze actually tells me that. So this is the Lynk Co 08, a car that it's premium, a car that drives 99.9% in electricity, a car that actually looks good and feels premium. So this car, it's with the 20-inch alloy wheels, so it's with the big wheels. If they configured let's say a 19-inch alloy wheels with the smaller wheels, the fuel consumption would be better from my point of view. So if you want a very enduring and premium feel premium car below 50,000 euros with all tech standard, go for the Core, not More. This is More. This is like 4,000 euros more, and I don't think you should pay that for 4,000 or 5,000 euros from my point of view. Go for the More because it has smaller wheels, so smaller wheels means that it's more fuel efficient compared with this one with the 20-inch alloy wheels. So the suspension will be more comfortable on the bumpy roads, and the fuel consumption will be lower. The power, the engine, everything is the same. So if you like what I'm talking about here and how I'm talking about Chinese or European cars, please like and subscribe. Thank you.